All right, this week we will be looking at Chapter 2, Lesson 2 with Adobe Premiere Pro. And as you can see, I've already launched the software. This is the main window that comes up. And some of the stuff that you see on here, we're going to talk a little bit more about. I know we covered a little bit of in Chapter 1, but here's some additional stuff. So we have a magnifying glass up here towards the top right. If you click on this, you can search for previously opened project files. And also tutorials from Adobe are available if you are connected to the internet. So one of the things we'll eventually be getting to is transitions. If you type in specific keywords, you can see topics come up. You can choose one and it will give you more information about that. I'm just going to go ahead and exit search. One of the other buttons that Chapter 2 talks about is the user button. And right now, because I do not have a profile picture, or if you just created your account, you may have this default color over here on the right side. This is the user button. It will be a shortcut that will take you to your Adobe account, and you can look at all your information there. All right, so let's get into starting a new project. So the button up here on the left, you go ahead and click that. This new project panel comes up, and here we can give the project a name. So where it says untitled, you can go ahead and name it. The book is asking for it to be called First Project. So just type that in the box there. And then you also want to browse if it's not already set to the location where you want to save it. So you've downloaded all your asset files and you've put them wherever they need to be on your computer. You want to go ahead and navigate to your lessons folder and then say select folder. So it should be your lessons folder that you're saving stuff to. And then after that, the book has you say okay. And there are a bunch more settings and we will probably look at these a little bit more later on. So once you've done that, you've now created a whole brand new Adobe Premiere Pro project from scratch. Up here at the top, you can see it reflects the save path and the name of the project. So it says First Project here. All right, one of the next things that you will be doing is creating a sequence. And that's where you're going to play all your media files. And you can also specify in these sequences frame rates and image sizes. And you can also deal with clips that don't match, and they're going to be converted if you have a specific setting that you've chosen. When you convert something such as one that's 1080 or 720, whichever one's not matching to your sequence, it will be conformed. So conforming is the term for that. And you can have more than one sequence in a project. And each sequence can have its own set of settings. So one of the things that you can do is when you're creating a sequence, you want to try to get it to match most of your media files. You can come down here to New Item. And you can go to Sequence, and it's going to open this here panel. One of the other things that you want to be mindful of is when you're editing, you'll find different types of files and codecs and formats that are available, and that can kind of be overwhelming. Premiere Pro can work with a wide variety of formats. However, if you bring something in, such as a video, and you only hear audio and you don't see any picture, that might be a codec issue. And sometimes that's dependent on some of your video players that could help Premiere along with that. So in the past, if I have, I usually install multiple video players, such as QuickTime or VLC, that's a free one. And then you also have like a Windows media player. Usually with the combination of those three installed, most file types will come right into Premiere, because Premiere, in addition to using their own codecs that they have when you launch the software, it can read those codecs from those players as well. All right, so we want to create that new sequence. So you have your new sequence panel open, and when you're down here and you click that new item, you can also choose stuff such as captions and color mats, and like solid colors. Those are great for, using graphics and putting a color background behind them. But right now we're trying to make our new sequence from a clip. So after you've chosen here and sequence, this new sequence panel opens, and they're based, all these different ones that you're seeing here are based on cameras that exist and the types of files that they record. The book is asking us to click on digital SLR. So once you have that highlighted, you see this little arrow. You can click that to expand it, and then you get options such as 1080p, 480p, and 720p. It wants us to open up the 1080p group, and then you can see in here it gives us 3 different options for our sequence, and these are all presets. Let's see. It wants us to choose 1080p 30 frames per second. Once you have chosen one, it gives you the preset description so you can read information about all the stuff and how it's going to be affected with these presets. Notice here that it's 29.97 frames per second. This is very common for NTSC, which is our regular United States television, like live TV going over air setup. And defaultly it will read over here as 30p. That's a little bit easier to say versus the 29.97, and it actually can go further. I think it's 29.976 and so on, as far as your frame rate. So that's why they kind of round up, so it's easier for writing purposes, but this is actually what matches the TV settings. So at this point we can click OK. We could also come down here and give it a new name instead of sequence 1, but that's fine. So we'll say OK, and now we have a sequence.